Welcome to the HVAC Insider Series brought to you by Breezy. I am your host, as always, CJ Todd, and it is a pleasure to meet you all. If you haven't done so already, please let us know where you're joining from today in the chat. I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. So guys, here at Breezy, we are dedicated to helping HVAC business owners thrive in today's competitive marketplace. And that's why we invite HVAC experts to share their proven strategies, their insights, all designed to give your business the edge that it needs. Whether you're looking to boost sales, enhance your marketing, or create a social media presence that can drive real results for your business, the HVAC Insider Series has you covered. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Breezy today, and I'd like to launch a quick poll. I'd love to see where you're at in your HVAC journey and what CRM challenges you're actually experiencing right now. Our mission at Breezy is to eliminate the off-season for owners, and we do that by working alongside some of the industry's most accomplished owners and operators to build a CRM with features that actually help trades business owners. If you want to learn a little bit more about Breezy, how we can help you engage your customers, streamline operations, and eliminate the shoulder season, there's going to be a QR code up throughout today's presentation for you to scan to schedule a free demo with us. Absolutely no pressure, guys. We want to just be a resource for you, and we want to learn how we can help support your growth. So thank you so much for participating in that poll today. I'd also like to introduce our guest, which I'm super pumped about. Someone who really gets how to make social media work for the trades. Jen McKee is the owner of Key Hard Marketing, an award-winning social media agency that's managed accounts for over 100 home service businesses in just the past 2 years alone. That's pretty insane. She's been featured on ACHR The News, HVACR Business, and was named 2024 Top 40 Under 40 by ACHR, a huge accomplishment. She also hosts the Key to Growth podcast and is a regular contributor to Women in HVACR's marketing board. You've probably seen her. You know her. You love her. And let me tell you, when I first met Jen at Epic's 2024 conference in LA, she had this bright multicolor sequins blazer on, and she had the bright purple hair that she's known for. So she really knows how to make a memorable impression, and that's exactly why she's here today, to help you do that through your social media accounts. So a couple quick housekeeping items. Mentioned in the chat, I am going to be sending out the recording to this a little bit later today, so don't feel like you need to take a bunch of notes. Instead, just participate in the chats, participate in the polls, really take the next hour to engage, and you're not going to regret it, my friends. We will also have a Q&A session at the end today, so please make sure to hang out and get all your questions answered live. So she's smart, she's creative, she knows how to help you stand out. Let's give a very warm welcome to our friend, Jen McKee.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to ask you some questions to answer in the chat while we're going. And then also my marketing assistant, Taylor, is in the chat too, and she'll try to catch some of the easy things. But like CJ said, we'll do a Q&A at the end. I try not to get too distracted because I definitely can in the chat. But my name's Jen McKee, and the first thing I want to know is I want to know, like, what is your role? Because we're going to be talking about social media and about marketing. So it's good for me to know, like, are you the owner? Are you in charge of marketing? Are you the marketing director? Are you just here because you're curious? Any of those things are good, but I like to know kind of who I'm talking to first, just so that I know what all you might already know and what I should probably spend a little bit more time explaining. So that's really helpful for me. And so we've got marketing manager, coordinator, owner, marketing specialist, marketing coordinator, owner. That's pretty common. Even in my agency, we work with a lot of owners, and we work with a lot of marketing directors. We work with CSRs. There's all kinds of people that are kind of in charge of social media. Perfect. And so then the next thing that I want to know too is, like, what social media platform you're already posting on. And so CJ just threw a little poll up there. So I just want to know, and you can choose more than one: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, other. If it's other, like so curious, what other one are you giving attention to? Is it Threads? Is it X? Is it Reddit? Nextdoor? That's a really good one. Okay, love to see Facebook. Facebook's important. We got Instagram, we got some TikTok, we got LinkedIn, YouTube. Um, perfect. X. It's so interesting. I do not spend a lot of time on X, Pinterest, Nextdoor, Reddit. I love to hear about Reddit strategy. That one's so interesting to me as well. Okay, perfect, guys. Thank you for that. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start with some basics. I'm going to teach you guys the 4 C's of social media. I'm going to show you what not to do, and I'm not going to shame you if you're doing it, but we're going to learn and we're not going to do it anymore. And then I'm going to teach you the 3S framework, and I will share some tools with you guys because we use a ton of tools to make our life easier. So how many of you guys can relate to this? You said you were actually going to post today instead of scrolling for hours on end, and that was a lie. I think that this can happen to all of us. We get super distracted by social media, doing a lot of research, but don't worry, you don't have to research anymore. And then CJ did introduce me, and I appreciate that. I am the owner of Key Heart Marketing. I also do host the Key to Growth podcast. I invite you guys all to check out that podcast where I talk to people about marketing and find out what they're doing. I like to know all the details, all the good stuff, and share it with everyone. So another great resource for you if you're looking to improve upon your marketing.
Jen, do you ever do sequins blazer over sequin skirt?
No, definitely not. But I do the shoes, the shoes and sequins, but no, not the whole outfit. Not yet. We'll see. Okay. So what is the purpose of social media for your HVAC business or your home service business? Multiple purposes, of course. Standing out from your competitors is a big one. Promoting your business, attracting better recruits. Any of you guys who are really active on social media, have you noticed how you can get better people to come work for your company? It's actually like one of the first, it's one of the things that our clients say to us often, that they have people that want to come and work for them because of their social media presence. They're getting like the best plumber in the city who had 3 different offers but chose them because of their social media presence. So I think that's like a slept upon advantage to social media. That is something to definitely keep in mind. And then of course, to connect with your audience or connect with your customers and your community. And I don't want to like get into a ton of stats, but I think this is super interesting. So I hope that all of you guys have your Google business profile set up, have your website set up, have some of these basic Google things already set up for your business. But it's so good to know or to recognize, it's important to recognize that social media has become a search engine. So TikTok and Instagram are both used for searches, especially for younger generations where they're researching companies, they're researching, DIY, they're researching where they're going to spend their money, who they're going to spend it with, if the brands that they want to work with align with them and what other people are saying about them. And they're using social media platforms to do that. And then, of course, people are watching short form video. So for those of you that are active short form video watchers, I'm so curious. Are you watching on Facebook? Are you watching on Instagram? Are you watching on TikTok or on YouTube? Let me know in the chat and I'll tell you where I consume the most short form video.
Jen, tell me what's up with these new LinkedIn short form like stories. How do I
Oh
optimize
my
that?
gosh, I have not even seen that. I'm now really curious.
There's like a
It's,
whole row, when you scroll through
yeah,
Instagram and there's like it pops up the stories in the middle. It's like that on LinkedIn now, I've
I
noticed.
have not seen that. That's crazy. I need to look into that. Um, and I'll be honest, LinkedIn's not my favorite platform, but my favorite platform is TikTok. So we got a bunch of TikTok scrollers. We got YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Love that. So you guys are just like all the other consumers who are constantly scrolling short form video. So why wouldn't you want your business to show up there? Some other things that I think are really interesting is this 2025 study showed that this is where people are doing brand research. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, those are the top 3. You want to be sure that you were there. And then Facebook and YouTube are top social platforms for consumers reading reviews. So people are looking at your Facebook reviews. 56% of online adults make purchases online. 81% of consumers say social media compels them to make spontaneous purchases. And 73% of users agree that if a brand doesn't respond on social, they'll buy from a competitor. Oh my gosh. Are you watching your Facebook messages? Because people are messaging you. So I think that that's a really interesting and important statistic to be paying attention to your social media, because if someone sends you a message and you're not responding, they're going to go to your competitor. And I think you guys know at this point that that people are messaging you, and that it's important to that speed to lead is important. So it's important to respond to people quickly, because they will immediately go to someone else if they're not getting that response. Okay, I'm not going to read this for you guys, but I encourage you to take a picture of it. This is a lot of words that you probably heard marketers say, that you probably heard on social media. There's a couple of them that I think are important that I'm just going to call out. I think I'm going to assume, but maybe not, that you know what a post and a caption is. A carousel is a post with multiple images, so I might mention that. A reel is what they call a short form video on Facebook and Instagram. When you're looking at engagement factors, that's what this middle thing is. I'm going to talk a lot about engagement during this whole webinar here. So those are the things that I'm talking about. Here's some different strategy. The difference between organic and paid. Organic doesn't have money behind it, so that's free content. That's just the content that you're posting. Another word I'm probably going to say is omnipresent. So omnipresence is just showing up in multiple places. So having marketing on different platforms, having your videos and your content on different platforms. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some AI and automation. I'm going to say the word repurposing. So it's basically like taking one post and repurposing it into other posts, or taking one piece of marketing content, repurposing it onto other marketing content. So like I said, you can take a picture of this. This is for you to make sure that you know what we're talking about, but those are some of the basic things. And then how many of you guys have ever been like, oh, the algorithm hates me? Anybody who's like had to post content probably has decided that the algorithm hates them at some point. But I do want to challenge you, because the algorithm does not hate you. It honestly, there's only one thing that the algorithm cares about, and the algorithm cares about, well, I say one thing, there's probably a million things, but basically, in the most basic of terms, the algorithm cares about keeping people on the platforms. All of these social media platforms are a business. The way that they make money is through advertising, and the advertisers are paying for our attention. So it is the utmost importance to all of the social media platforms to keep people on their platform, which means to keep us scrolling. The only way to keep us scrolling is to put content in front of us that we think is interesting, or that we're in the way that they decipher that we think it's interesting is that we're clicked on it. We've spent an extra 2 seconds looking at it versus something else. We've liked it, we've commented, we've shared, we've saved it. So that is all the algorithm is doing, is it's measuring how much somebody likes the content. So the goal is not to get the algorithm to like us. The goal is to create content that people want to look at or want to engage with. So that is what we're talking about today. And yes, even HVAC businesses can create content that people care about and that they want to see in their newsfeed and want to engage with. I feel like we've already gone over so much. So, and then this is the last thing I want you to consider. I say the last thing before we get into some of the meat of this, but the last thing I want you to consider about social media content is that you want to think about it like a science project. So you're not going to get it right the first time. This isn't about like never messing up. This isn't about creating viral content like every single time you put something out there. What this is about is researching content that other people are doing, or attending a webinar like this so that you have a little bit of understanding of what it is that you're going to do, creating a piece of content. So that's your hypothesis, and you've decided like, this is what I'm going to put out there. And I think this is going to accomplish the goal, which is to have something engaging and have people like it. I'm going to post the content. So I'm going to test it, and then I'm going to analyze the data. And I'm certain that if you're not in marketing, you're probably not spending a lot of time analyzing your social media data. But by looking at, did this piece of content perform well? What pieces of content did the best this month versus which ones had the least amount of engagement? And the ones that did the best, can I do more of those? And the ones that didn't perform well, well, maybe I should stop spending my time and energy creating those. And then you start all over from the beginning and keep testing. So you're never doing something wrong. It's just all about testing.
I would like to jump in and just make sure everybody takes a picture of this, or we can send this out later afterward. But I think that this is very important.
Yeah, and I think that I hope it relieves some of the pressure. Like it's not about getting it right the first time. It's about putting out content consistently, seeing what's working and creating more of what's working. And really like giving yourself that space to breathe of like it's okay if it doesn't go viral, honestly. Okay. So I said there were two things I was going to teach. I'm going to teach the 4 C's of social media success, and I'm going to teach that along with the 3S framework. So your 4 C's are commitment, calendar, content, and consistency. Does anybody know what the most important thing is when it comes to social media content? Can anybody guess what I would say is the most important thing? You can put it in the chat. The most important thing when it comes to social media content. Gonna give y'all a couple seconds. What do you think is most important? Y'all are good. Yeah, use one of these C's. Definitely one of these C's. All right, we've got quality content, continuing to post, consistency. I think some of you guys see my content sometimes. No, I'm not the only one that says it. Being able to relate, content engagement, content consistency, content connection, consistency. Okay, so the most important thing that you can do is consistency. And I'm going to explain this in a way that I think you're going to understand why I say that. So when you think about the content that you see on social media, do you remember more that one video that went viral? Like, do you remember who was in it, who the creator was? Like, and I'm saying that one video, just like the one that you saw. Maybe you saw it today, maybe you saw it yesterday, I don't know. Or do you remember that creator that keeps popping up in your feed over and over and over again? And you may not even be following them, but like you keep seeing their content and they create new videos and then you get kind of excited about it or whatever. And I can guess that you probably remember the people that are showing up over and over and over again.
Mr. Fat Cheeto.
I don't see him
Taking
in
over
my
my
He's not in
timeline.
my feed. And yeah, so all of our feeds look a little bit different, but the point is that consistency is way more important than your content. It's way more important because you're going to remember something that you see over and over and over again much more easily than something that you just see once. I saw, and I keep mentioning this. This is my Tim Brown, my Tim Hook quote that he said, and he probably didn't even make it up, but this is who I give credit to, and it's that it's more like I'm not even going to say it right, but basically, it's more important that, or what is more important, that 1 million people see one of your videos, or that 100 people see 1,000 of your videos. Like, it's way more important for 100 people to see your content 1,000 times than for just 1 million people to see one piece of your content. So, consistency. But you have to know what to post in order to be consistent, right? So the first part of this is commitment. How many times realistically, or how much time can you realistically commit to social media? So some of you guys said that you guys are in charge of marketing. So you might have a little bit more time than an owner has to dedicate to social media. But you do want to first figure out how much time are you going to commit to this. So maybe an hour a week, 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, and then put it in your calendar. So you're committing to it. This is what you're going to do. And then you have to plan your calendar. So there's a couple things that you're looking at whenever you're planning a calendar. The very first thing is the important holidays in the calendar. So we've got May coming up. So we have Memorial Day, we have Mother's Day, Taylor. I think there's probably some trades holidays in there that we have. She could probably tell me, but so important holidays, important trades holidays. I think there's like DIY homeownner DIY month or National Homeowner Month. I think there's in April there was like Hug a Plumber Day, like things like that that are relevant to your trade. And then the calendar dates that are important to your business. So people's birthdays, people's anniversaries, your business anniversary. important to your community. So I live in, thanks Taylor, National Home Improvement Month. I live in San Antonio, Texas. This is Fiesta. This is a really big deal in our community. It's a great reason to create content. You can create content all around it. So like rodeos, festivals, like things that people are thinking about, end of school, graduation, things that you can create content about. So that's what you start with in your calendar. And then you have to get the content. So after you've planned out your calendar, you use your important dates, you fill it in with the 3S framework, which we're going to talk about next. And then you have to come up with all of the content, and we'll talk about how to collect it. And then you just have to post consistently. So you have to do this month after month after month after month and continue to get content out there. But there are some strategies to make it a little bit easier. So commitment, how much time are you going to commit to it? Calendar, important dates, and then fill it in with the 3S strategy. Content is the pictures and videos that you're going to use on your social media. And then consistency is doing it over and over and over again. National Skills Trades Day. Thanks, Taylor. Okay. What not to do? Do any of you guys have content like this on your Facebook? And I'm not judging you if you do. I just want everybody to know that you're not alone if some of your Facebook feed looks like this.
Is that Thaddeus in the middle?
It is, yeah. It so looks like him. That's so funny. So I used this picture the other day, and Josh was like, "Oh, what about those superheroes or whatever?" And I think sometimes like AI can be fun. There's AI trends. There was one a couple of months ago that was like, you give ChatGPT this prompt to like make you or whatever, and that was really fun. And those can be engaging, and you can definitely use those. But using AI generated content on your website, on your social media consistently, it's not authentic, and you can't do a great job of your actual branding, and it's definitely not your people. And right now it looks like AI. Stock photos, and I will die on the hill of not using stock photos. And the reason for that is because our goal is to stand out on social media. Your social media can only be an asset for you if you stand out, if you have content that is engaging and it's actually showing up in the newsfeed. And you cannot show up in the newsfeed. People are not. When was the last time you were scrolling through Facebook and you saw a stock photo? I mean, just that. When was the last time you were scrolling through Facebook and you saw a stock photo? And like, you don't. And the reason that you don't is because no one's engaging with it. And so it's not even showing up in the newsfeed. So it's not showing up in the newsfeed for your customers. It's not showing up in the newsfeed. Sponsored posts are different. Thank you for pointing that out. And honestly, this one on the right here, this graphic, you probably see sponsored posts like that, especially you guys, because y'all are in HVAC. You see all of your competitors' sponsored posts, but you are not seeing these organically in the newsfeed. And this other one is graphic heavy. And the reason again is because this is not what people care about. You're not getting off of work or getting in bed or waiting at the doctor's office and like seeing graphic content because it's not showing up in your newsfeed because it's not engaging. So what are you going to post instead? That is where the 3S framework comes into place. So I'm sure you guys have seen a funnel like this, a marketing funnel. And in this marketing funnel, it is the show up, stand out, and scale framework. And the top of it is show up. So that's the most of our content. That's our traction, visibility. It's our broadest net. It's our most relatable content. Below that, we have the standout content, which is our value content. That's our educational stuff. And then our scaling content is the smallest part of our 3S framework because that is the least amount of content that you should be posting. So the most amount of content you should be posting probably has nothing to do with HVAC at all. And then only about 30% of it is going to actually be educational. And even that, like there's some other things that we can throw in there. And only 20% of it is when you're going to put your offers out there. And again, we're not talking about paid ads. We'll talk about paid ads a little bit, but this is about your organic content strategy. And the reason for that is because those offers that you put on Facebook organically, or you put on Instagram organically, or even on TikTok, no one is looking at them. No one's seeing them, especially if you're using a link. None of the social media platforms, we go back to that I told you about, like we're paying for the eyeballs, right? The platforms want us to stay on the platform. So if you're creating an organic post, a non-paid post on your social media, and you're putting a link on there to try to get someone to click onto your website or click onto something else, all of the platforms are going to show less people your content because they don't want people clicking off. That doesn't help them. They don't want people going to another site. You can kind of get around that by putting it in the caption, but I still feel when you're like, oh, look in the caption, it's there. No, they don't want that. They don't want you clicking off. They're looking for words like that. I'm saying it's robots. It's the platforms. It's Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so here are some examples. This is a huge list of things that are relatable, that are show up content, and then I'm going to show you some actual examples of it. But things that you can think of that are relatable, that it's 50% content is like day in the life, behind the scenes. We do photo dumps. So think about the stuff that you engage with when you're on Facebook or on Instagram. It's like the photo dumps of someone's vacation, the photo dumps of someone's birthday party, the photo dumps of someone at Fiesta last night, the pictures of someone's kid getting an award, the pictures of someone's kid at baseball practice. So this is like what your business content should look like as well. So day in the life, behind the scenes, introducing the team, an office or a job site tour, a customer appreciation post. So like selfies with your customers, fun facts about your company, throwback photos. You have a 50-year-old company, start pulling all those photos off the wall and getting those on your Facebook and sharing them. Your celebration. So your, like I said, business anniversary for your team. I mean, you don't want to say like, oh, we sold $1 million last year, but you could say like, we raised this much money for this local organization, or this person just got promoted into this new position in our company. Of course, anything that you're doing in the community, pet photos. If you have a shop cat, a shop dog, we've had clients with the shop bird. So whatever animal is hanging around or coming to work, photos of them, or even customer photos. One of our clients has branded dog treats that they give out. And so photos of like dogs waiting on these branded dog treats, company events, company parties, company trainings, favorite tools or products, morning routines, on the way to work, sneak peeks of upcoming projects. So all of these things are low pressure. So you're not selling anything to anyone. You're not even telling them about HVAC, but you're sharing who you are, what you do, in a relatable way.
And I think a lot of what you just mentioned, it's not mostly it's not about me, us. It's telling the story of like how your brand exists within the community or the marketplace, that kind of tying it together is where you should be living here, not necessarily like drawing attention to like the owner specifically, or like what we did great, or like how we did something good for someone else.
Yeah. And it's really too about like documenting what's already happening. So instead of like having to come up with this whole Canva, beautiful graphic that no one's going to see, it's really just documenting life, because that's what people are looking at on social media. But it's documenting life in your branded uniforms, in front of your branded truck, using your branded swag or whatever to kind of pull that back in and keep that brand top of mind while just documenting what you're doing. Does that feel easier than what you're already doing on social media? Does that seem like it might be a little bit easier than having to like come up with a whole graphic or new idea every single time? Let me know in the chat. Or if you have any like specific questions about that, let me know that in the chat too. So I'm going to show you some examples of what this looks like. So one of the things that you can use is memes, and memes work really well in video. This is using an app called CapCut, which some of you may have heard of before. CapCut is a really easy solution if you don't have a ton of pictures and videos to the point of any meme that you're creating is that it should be relatable to your audience. So it should be something that a problem that your customers are dealing with and turned into like a POV or some sort of meme is how you want to do memes. Controversy is another one that I didn't list there, but this is controversy not in like politics or something like that, but here it's like, what's the best temperature to keep your home at? This video got over 3 million views, and we've actually done this over and over again for our clients, and it always gets tens of thousands, if not millions of views. So this is a really fun one where we kind of stitch together everybody's responses. And the reason it's controversial is because people have their own opinion on what their home should be kept at. I mentioned carousels, so photo dumps. We do photo dumps all the time. In our content calendar, we write photo dumps 2 to 4 times a month. And there's a couple reasons for that. It's really native to the social media feed. It also encourages engagement on all of the platforms, because on Instagram, your content will show up twice in the feed if you have more than one photo. People naturally will click on it so that they can click through the photo. So even if they're not liking it or commenting on it, clicking on it is a form of engagement. So it can be really beneficial. And then trends. So this was, again, another easy trend. There wasn't really much that we needed like from the client to do this trend. And it was just like a daily mail trend. It was kind of silly. Meet the owners. So this post performs, we're always looking for what we call overperforming content instead of something viral. So overperforming content is something that did better than the baseline for the client. So every client has like a little different baseline, like a different amount of consistent engagement. So things that do better than the baseline is something that's overperforming. So we also encourage meet the owners at least once a month, at least some way of telling the story of like where the company came from, who's in charge. And if you're not in a family-owned company or a privately owned company, you can still do meet the install tech or install manager, meet the general manager, meet the CSR team. Like you can introduce all the people in your team the same way that you celebrate them with birthdays and anniversaries. And then also celebrating anything that you're doing in the community. So if you're doing giveaways, if you're supporting different, like the Little League team and they've won their, conference or whatever, like these are all things that you can create content around. And then just doing things that are relatable. So this video on the right here was really funny because it was like super windy that day. So he just did this video where he was like, just a little bit of wind here in Oklahoma, a light breeze. That's what he said, just a light breeze. So doing things that are relatable to your community, great content. So again, this show up content to get engagement, this is 50% of your content. This is 50% of your content. None of this was like how to, know if you should get a heat pump. None of this was how to change your air filters. None of this was educational. None of it. It didn't even have an HVAC unit in it in most of them, but it was branded. It was about the team. It was about the community. And it got a lot of engagement. And when you get engagement on your content, you're telling the social media platforms that you are a valuable account and that other people probably want to see this content as well. And so the next time that you post, you're more likely to get in front of more people. Okay, so the next section is the standout content. So this is your educational, your tips, your how-tos, testimonials, because this is also positioning you as a thought leader. So anytime that you're on a stage, anytime that you're positioned as the expert, you're in a news article, you're on a podcast, you have a PR article written about you, or you're on a news cast. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. A news segment where you're talking about something, like all of these position you as the expert. These are all your standout content. So some examples of this, easy homeowner tips, anything about filters, where to find filters, what kind of filters to buy, when to change filters, really easy tips. Trades knowledge. So I wouldn't get super technical, but some things that can save people money or just make them feel like they understand a part of the way that their home works, it can be really beneficial. How-tos. And if you notice, all of these are videos. And for all of you that are like maybe not doing video yet, video is one of the fastest and most consistent ways to reach the most people. And so I do recommend it. And if you don't want to use your face, you can start off by just like documenting what you're doing, maybe setting up a tripod and recording and then doing a voiceover. But using people is always going to help you get a little bit more engagement than not. And then we have a testimonial over here, using people in all the content, even your offers, even your educational stuff. This is we always use people because people are more engaging. That's what we see on social media when we're scrolling through, is we see pictures of people. And then dogs, we see pictures of dogs too. Videos about pain points. So a lot of times we'll use what we call B-roll videos, which are just like this videos of panning through this job site and then add educational information on top. Things that you're doing in the community. So you're already seeing some crossover between the show up and standout content. There is a possibility that you can create content that touches all three of these, and that's like the trifecta. That's the best that you can do. But this also shows you as an expert in the community. And then this is a little screenshot from a news segment that we were able to use as video content and as static content. Okay, show up as a thought leader. This is 30% of the time. So how many of you guys are already comfortable creating educational content? Is this something that you do often? Let me know in the chat if educational content is where you feel the most comfortable, because I think that that's kind of how we've been, conditioned to believe that as a business, we should post on social media by sharing something educational or sharing a blog post, and then of course, sharing our offers. All right, and so here is our offer content. This is the scale, the third S, and this is the first thing I'm showing you are paid ads. And that's because this kind of content does not perform really well on social media. So yes, you're right. You do see these paid ads in your newsfeed. And part of the reason that you guys see them so much is because you work in an HVAC company. So a lot of times our clients will be like, we see these everywhere, like these must be working. It's like, no, you fit the target audience, and that's why you keep seeing it, and you've clicked on it and now you keep seeing it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a great ad. So if you see here, we still use people in all of our ads, and these are real people in the company. These are branded. And then we also use video, and we also use memes. And the reason for that is because when you're running ads, if you use copy and creative that has already performed well organically, it's going to do even better as an ad. And so then you can reach more people and get your offer in front of more people without having to spend more money. So using engaging content in your paid ads is also really important. So videos, using people, using memes, using things that people would engage with organically, it is going to make your paid ads perform better than if you're just using pictures of the equipment that you got from your distributor, or if you use like stock images, or if you're using AI generated images, it's still going to perform better with people. And then if you're doing an offer post on your organic social, it is not usually a very engaging piece of content. It's usually not going to get as much engagement, like likes, comments, shares, as anything else. But again, prioritizing people over anything else. You can see none of these are like heavy Canva graphics. They do have a phone number, they do have a logo, they do have the offer, but they're meant to look a little bit more native to the feed, so that in the off chance that someone just happens to engage with it, they're helping us get in front of more people who might want to see this offer. So if you have any questions about these offers, I know some of y'all are dropping them and I'm trying not to get distracted because I'll answer them at the end. But I'm happy to answer anything else about that. As far as like using it on your newsfeed and not using it for ads, I would not do it more than 20% because it's just not going to get in the newsfeed very often. The show up content, that 50%, that is your most valuable content that you can put out in the newsfeed. And the reason for that is because you're actually getting in front of people. If your content isn't getting in front of people, it's not helping you. It's not helping your business at all. Okay. I did say, am I doing okay on time, CJ?
Yeah, you're doing well. We're at a 220 or 240 rather.
Okay. So I did mention that I was going to tell you about how to get this content because that was our third C, right? We have to get this content. And I think that's what overwhelms a lot of you guys, especially if you're an owner. And so some of the things that can be helpful is number one, hire it out. I think that that is it doesn't need to be an overly expensive investment. You could probably find a photographer in your area to do it for under $1,000, depending on what area that you're in, to get a bunch of videos that a bunch of pictures that you can use at least for some of these social media things. You could also hire a part-time content creator to come into your business a couple times a week or a couple times a month to do some of this. You could, bring in a more professional company, but social media content, especially the videos, they don't need a huge production. A lot of these videos perform really well from your phone. And so finding somebody who could do this and get these videos recorded from you from your phone is definitely a great option. Another thing you can do is assign it to someone on your team and make it actually a part of their job role. So not just like, hey, if you can get a couple of things, that would be great. But hey, we're going to add this as one of your expectations. This is the time during your job that you're going to get for it. So you might get, 4 hours a week or 4 hours a month. That be sure that you get it in your calendar and make it a priority. We have clients that incentivize their team in different ways. So we've seen it done with a contest of who can get the most viral content. Of course, that would be viral for your business, but the content that gets in front of the most people, or who can get the most pieces of content, who can reach a certain threshold. We've had them like team them up together. So people in the office, people in the field, on the same team to encourage each other and try to see who can get the most pictures and videos. Or leverage your existing camera roll, and that includes you and anyone else on your team. Ask them to dump any pictures or videos that they have. There's likely some people who post on Snapchat regularly or already have some videos, especially the gross stuff and the interesting stuff. That's usually when they pull their camera out. And then if you're doing it, it takes getting in the habit. It takes being intentional. It takes having a plan. And so if you already have your content calendar, you know what you need for this content, and then it's just getting out there and doing it. And then in order to really make this happen, like I just mentioned, having a plan is so important, and then scheduling it out. So even as a social media company, we schedule all of our stories and static posts. Our videos are done 2 weeks in advance. So we always have a plan. When you're waiting to that day to figure out what you're going to post on social media without having a plan, it can feel stressful, can feel overwhelming. It can make you feel guilty if you don't get to it. And there are lots of tools that you can use that can ensure that these things get done. I mentioned hiring a photographer or videographer. That gives you the opportunity to batch your content. So we had a client that we went and got all of their social media content for them. So we hired an outside photographer and then came in and did all the video. It took us the whole day, probably like 8 to 4 or 5. And we did go to 2 different locations during that time. But with all of the videos and pictures that we got, we had enough content for the year. So that one day, gave us content for a whole year. And there were a couple one-offs, like maybe holidays, people's birthdays, or something special that was going on that we would say, you know, like, hey, can you get this? Can you get that? But what I want you to understand is that spending one day on getting all of these videos and pictures that then you can schedule out and use is, I think, a pretty good use of one day. Then you don't have to think about it anymore. Okay, so then use scheduling tools. So we use Metricool as a scheduling tool. That's what this picture is right here. I really love Metricool. It makes it really easy to schedule to all the platforms. You can also schedule to your Google business profile. You can schedule Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I believe you can schedule Pinterest. You can schedule, it's got a whole bunch of applications that it allows you to schedule to. You can also schedule stories, and you can schedule reels to Facebook and Instagram using this platform. You can easily save text. It has an AI caption generator. Taylor just dropped my link there. That is a affiliate link. Honestly, I think that you could probably get an account for free. So I probably won't even ever make any money off of that affiliate link. But when you have multiple accounts, it does end up costing money. But I believe your first account might be free, or it might be $10 or $15 a month. I think Metricool is a really easy tool. It also gives you analytics for all the platforms. So you can go in and see in the past year which content performed the best, in the past month, in the past week. And so this, and you can post across platforms. Meta Business Manager also allows you to schedule posts, but it's a little bit more clunky, and you can only schedule to Facebook and Instagram. It's not my favorite, but it is free, and it is also available. And then just some like AI tools, because AI is like top of mind right now. So we definitely in our agency, and I personally use ChatGPT all the time. The trick to using ChatGPT, if you're just getting started with it, or if you're struggling to get great stuff out of it, is to give it everything that you have already. So if you want it to create a social media post about something particular to your business, tell it what it is. So give it the blog post, give it your services, give it the language that you guys use, and then it can help you generate captions out of that. Cast Magic is great for taking like long form video content and getting a ton of stuff out of it. So we use this for podcasts. So if you or the owner is ever in a podcast, or doing a training, or speaking at a webinar, and you want to take that content and turn it into a blog post, or turn it into X quotes, or turn it into an email, Cast Magic is really great for that. Descript and Opus Clips help also turn long videos into short clips. You can tell it the style that you want. You can tell it the keywords that you want it to look into, or make sure that it catches. They're not the greatest thing in the world, but they also allow you that consistency and allow you to get content out there. And then as far as scheduling and automation, so we, like I said, use Metricool as a scheduling social media post scheduler. We use repurpose.io, which allows what repurpose.io does, and I love this tool, and I've been using it for years, is any video that we post on TikTok, there's an automation that takes it and automatically posts it to all the other platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We don't use it for YouTube. We actually post natively on YouTube, but we do have it go to the drive, which is great too, because then we always have access to it. And then Zapier. So if you've never used Zapier, I highly recommend looking into that tool. It's hard to say what it does, because it does like pretty much anything that you want it to do, but what it is it's an automation tool that allows you to connect multiple programs to each other. So you can have, you know, a Facebook lead come in and go to a Google Drive sheet, and then send an email to notify someone that it's come in. Then it could send a message on Slack or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways that that Zapier can work for you. And then Taylor dropped some links for Repurpose and Cast Magic and Metricool in there. So just a couple of things to end with for you guys. So first of all, remember when you're creating content that you're creating with your ideal customer in mind. It's not about you, which I think CJ mentioned. And creating content isn't the end goal. I don't think any of you guys want to be content creators. Maybe you do, but that's not what we're talking about here. This is just the means to get you to the goal. Not every piece of content is going to perform well. So we talked about the scientific method. That's okay. We just keep going. Don't delete stuff. Just keep moving forward. If the content is not actionable, rework it. So if it's something that you would not engage with, if you saw it on your newsfeed, is it worth posting? Is it worth putting all this time into? If it's not, think about how you can change it to where it could be. And then remember that this is a muscle. Creating content is a muscle. Creating social media content is a muscle. And you get better the more that you practice. You don't get better coming to more of these events. You don't get better thinking about it more. You don't get better watching videos on Reels more. You actually only get better when you practice and you start putting it out there. And then when it comes to organic social, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So it's a long game, and you get more out of it the more that you do it. So that is it for today. As CJ mentioned earlier, I do have this social media mastery pack. So this has a bio optimization tool, visual strategy, and post power. So visual strategy is our shot list, and then post power is the top 7 pieces of content that are performing well right now. So this is a free download. And then if you want to chat more about social media and what it could do for you and how you could work with us, then you can scan that QR code right there and book a call to chat with us. Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm muted. Jen's gonna go grab some water real quick, and while she does that, I just wanted to extend to you another invitation to really grow with Breezy. If you'd like to get a little bit more information about how we can help you scale, Jen's in the business of making, social media a lot less stressful and a lot more streamlined. And that's what we're trying to accomplish for your business. So if you would like to get, a quick call so we can figure out how we can help you scale, please participate in the poll, and we'll reach out to you after today's session. All right. Thank you guys so much for that. And additionally, if you'd like more information about how Jen can help you implement the 3S framework, she can, reach out today, and you get to schedule a 30-minute call, and she can really go over, exactly what you're doing in your strategy, where she thinks she might be able to help you improve, and then, really just answer any questions you might have. She's a great resource, and she's an incredible person, and she really cares about helping the industry grow. So if you would like to connect with Jen, please participate in the poll. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. We're going to get into the Q&A now. So let me bring Jen back on. Jen, we got a lot of really great questions in the chat, and I have a couple of questions for you. I'd love to kick off with one of mine. HVAC business owners, they struggle with content creation. The consistency that we've identified as the most important. What are some effective ways that you've seen some HVAC business owners incentivize their techs or their office staff to consistently contribute to that content machine?
I think figuring out how your team is motivated, and then how you can like what they would be motivated by. And so like one of our clients did they had like a monthly outing, and so whichever team won it would get like something special at the outing, like an extra round of drinks or food or whatever. We've had gift cards, Amazon gift cards that our clients have given their teams for giving them the most content. And I think really what ends up being the most successful, and this is kind of hard, is just like making it a part of your culture that you document what you do. It's like not even like, yes, it like having that buy-in from the owner, having the buy-in from, I think really from the top, it needs to be bought in. And then your team will want to be involved, and it no longer needs to be incentivized. But that's kind of what we've seen.
I love that. It's good recommendation. William asked really early on in the session and asks again. Google says that we can't use more than one marketing agency. Is there any like validity to that? Can you use more than one agency? How do you think
I
about
don't
that?
know. I'm kind of confused by that. Like what question that you may have asked, William. We work with clients that use a different agency for ads, or maybe, and so they're like, honestly, like, yeah, I mean, even we work with people that have marketing companies that post on their social media, and then so do we. So I'm not really sure what question it was that you asked Google. There is no like rule against that. Like you can have multiple people in your business manager, you can have multiple people as your Facebook admins and things like that. So it can get a little bit tricky if people are posting things that aren't engaging, and like I said in this, if you are posting unengaging content, it's less likely that people will see it. And so when that happens, all of your content views go down. So like if we're having to constantly go up against really boring content, it's hard for the engaging content to get out there because like Facebook thinks that you're boring.
Sure. And I think, I mean, from my perspective, I'm a little bit different because, I work with other organizations rather than trying to reach homeowners. But it's important to be consistent across, everything, your social media platforms, any of your print material, any of your, other online presence, like your website. And when you work with a bunch of different agencies, it's easy to lose that consistency, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but William, please feel free to add any color to that question, or if we didn't quite, touch on that, like feel free to, follow up in the chat. Victoria asked an interesting question. You mentioned a couple of the third-party content management tools. Are there any that you've come across that allow you to post in the same capacity to like Nextdoor?
I have not. I think Nextdoor is kind of interesting. It's a community, and I I don't think it should be treated like Facebook or like Instagram. Like it kind of needs a little bit more attention. More like a group where you probably don't want to post consistently, but you could post maybe updates for things that are like different in your, if the weather is going to be really hot or really cold, or there's a storm coming or something, and you can give some really great information. And otherwise, it's more of like a listening, like you want to know when people are asking for recommendations, which then becomes a little bit challenging. I have not come across a tool that listens for you for that platform yet.
And like on Nextdoor, you mentioned it kind of being like a group. I think I see a lot of value in jumping in, maybe assigning it to a certain person inside your organization, but jumping in when those questions are asked and just give, information, really helpful information, and just emerge as the thought leader or the contractor of choice based on the value that you add there, rather than
Mhm.
trying to like spam it with posts all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Let's see. If you buy an ad, should you also make a post with that same content? Asks Victoria.
I would do it the other way. I would like make the post, and then if it performs well, turn it into an ad.
Colleen asks, struggling with keyboard warriors, having to comb through, all the content for any feedback from people that might be, just doing dumb posts or, you know, responding to things. Like, what's your recommendation for, responding to different engagements on social?
Yeah. So the first thing that Colleen said is like safety issues. So I want to touch on that first because I think it's important to represent your company in a safe way, especially if anything for legal issues, but for all kinds of reasons. So there's some things that we've learned about like not posting in plumbing. Like we don't post trenches just because like the trenches are never I mean, they are. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. I don't know enough about it, and I don't want that to be an issue. We're careful about ladders. So if there's things that are are safety issues, I would refrain from posting about it. Posting them. As far as like errors, like that is great. Like let them comment on it, and then you can create videos responding, or that's what I would do, is create videos responding of like why you're doing the things that you do, and not in a defensive way, but in a way to like share more information. We work with a client, and you can go look at their content, DeHart Plumbing, and DeHart Plumbing, Heating and Air, DeHart, DEHART. They're out of Kansas. So when he started working with us, he already is in the habit of creating content. And that's why I say when you get it in your culture, it's great. And it comes from him. And he used to really struggle with people responding to him. And now he responds to them very well. He responds to the positive people, he responds to the negative people. And he just, like, if they're errors that you can confidently, speak on, that like this is how you do things, and this is why it makes sense here, then I would do it. Like, engagement helps boost our content. So on the other hand, if somebody is being if they're spamming you, if they're being offensive, if they're being inappropriate, if there are some situations where it's okay to block people, it's okay to delete comments. If it is a real problem, like a customer that you worked with, it's a real problem that they experienced, I would be really cautious about deleting it, and instead addressing it. Addressing it publicly, I think it speaks to like your authenticity and how you handle customers. So there is some things like that, but like if someone is really just being not a good person, you can delete it. So that was a lot of answers, but that's kind of what the rules are.
From your perspective, would it be valuable to come up with some sort of a, brand guidelines or like a toolkit for whoever is monitoring those to understand kind of the tone or the message that you want to, post this way if someone's upset, or you want to post this way if someone's congratulatory, like maybe come up with like a brand voice?
Yeah. And I think too, like ChatGPT can definitely help you, especially now, like we're so close to the business. Sometimes it's hard to respond to things. And so having ChatGPT help us can be beneficial also.
Cool. Kate asks a really interesting question. How well does influencer content work in the industry?
Um, it just depends. I think, again, going back to that, it's more impactful to have consistency over like one viral video. I think it's the same with influencers. So if you can put somebody in your membership, know that it might not lead to calls tomorrow, but if you come out this week and come out in a month for something else and come out next season for something else, like find a reason to like keep creating content with them that's benefiting them, that they can talk about. It's some interesting things, like maybe you come out and you teach them the basics of their HVAC unit. Like maybe it starts off with a tune-up, and then you come back and you teach them the basics of their HVAC system, and maybe you do a duct cleaning, and maybe you do like these kind of different reasons why you need to come out. Oh my gosh, my dog's being a problem. Then I think that it could work, but I wouldn't expect it to be like, we're going to do this and then they're going to bring in all these customers. Like that probably won't work.
We have a policy on the Breezy Masterclass series that if we hear your dog, you have to bring him on camera. So I haven't heard him yet, but
I know. And like he ate my Ethernet cable earlier this afternoon, and I literally was in the middle of a meeting. I had to go buy a new Ethernet cable and come back and finish my meeting.
Wow. Dragon, let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. What is your stance on free giveaway posts that ask you to follow the page, like participate in a game, something, more engaging, less engaging?
Yeah, we've done stuff like this. I think it's fun to like connect with other businesses in your community and maybe do a giveaway of like local businesses, or if you want to go buy gift cards, and like we've done them for like Mother's Day, the owner bought a like from her favorite salon and from her favorite boutique, and like bought gift cards from these places, and then we did like a Mother's Day giveaway. So those are really fun, and you can ask them to be a part of it. So it's like a follow
Sure.
thing to get in front of more people in the community. So that could be fun.
From
You
a
could
legal,
also have influencers help you with that as well.
sure. Two things. So, like from a legal standpoint, I know some giveaways can get a little hairy with like terms and conditions or whatever. Like we used to give away when I was at EGIA, we used to give away like cash gift cards for certain participations, and we had to kind of have like legal terms tied to that. So I
Isn't
would
it under a
say,
certain amount?
yeah,
Because
I
otherwise
can't
it's gonna
remember
be
what
on
it
it. I
was,
think it's
but
like $500. But also, I'm not a lawyer. I don't think CJ's a lawyer, so I would
no,
consult with your lawyer before.
absolutely, yeah. And then
Before-
back to the influencer thing, I found it to be quite beneficial if there's a local group that might be led by a group, like one person or a group of individuals. We've had a lot of success working with like a mom's group.
Mm.
Just some affinity groups that might touch that homeowner segment that you're trying to, reach, and work with them to kind of come up with a post. Maybe it's like offering them a service, or honestly, if they're your customer, like tell that story inside their group. So maybe not like a big influencer, like I don't know if you're going to work with like your local baseball team, like ace pitcher or something, or if you
Yeah.
can see a little bit more of the micro influencer kind of uptick, working with them. So, explore kind of different groups there.
Yeah, I think that's where like community involvement is so important, and just getting involved with different community or different groups in your community and different people.
Cool. I have another question that just kind of came up for me. Um, Businesses that might have local or multiple locations, rather, or multiple service areas, what do you recommend for them when tailoring the 3S framework so it feels like each of their branches might have, a unique individualized message or community, but like without becoming way too overwhelming?
Yeah. I think that in order to be really like, you probably need more than one. You probably need more than one social media, at least Facebook, because Facebook has your address tied to it. So it's like your Google business profile, depending on how far away it is. So if you have just like a metro area and you have multiple locations in the metro area for your Google business profile, I think that those could be all one social media platform. But if you have different areas, like, we have a location in North Carolina and South Carolina, or, New York and New Jersey. Like those are probably different communities. You're probably doing different things. So it might make sense at that point to separate it out.
Okay, cool. Well, we're about 10 minutes over on time. Is there any final thoughts, that any parting words you'd like to leave us with?
I think the most important thing is just document what you're doing, get started, don't overthink it. It doesn't need to be perfect, but getting out there consistently, getting your brand out there, getting your people out there, is going to be the most impactful thing. And if you start this today, and you do it consistently, in 6 months, you're going to blow your own mind of how far you've come.
That's awesome. And thank you so much for being here today and sharing that awesome framework with us, and, offering that free tool, to our audience. It's going to be incredibly helpful. And again, if you want more information about how Jen can help you, like scan that QR code on the right. And if you want more information about Breezy, scan that QR code on the left. I just talked to my sales director, and he said that we're going to give a free month of service away to anybody that schedules a demo today. So there's that in the chat again. Thank you so much, Jen. It's been a blast. I hope to do it again soon.
Yeah, thank you. And everyone, feel free to connect with me on social media. I'm on everything: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Key Heart Marketing, Jen McKee.
Cool. I'll send that out afterward to everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jen. See ya.